Hello everyone, Alex here, and today we're gonna see the worst characters to invest in this Watch Collide that you really want to avoid because you need a lot of those fragments here and even the blue ones to upgrade any characters. You need blue ones for epic characters and for legendaries that have a little bit of a shinier look. Like if you look very closely, Wonder Woman next to Constantine, Wonder Woman sparkles a bit more. That those are the legendary characters, so you can put them like this and sort by quality. And the legendary are the top row plus Deathstroke, and then there's epics. There are rares, elite, rare, uncommon, and that's it. Uncommon are unusable. Those are usable the first maximum the first week you are playing. Those might seem a little bit nice, and there are iconic characters that you may want to play with. You have them for the first days. It was fun playing for the first couple of days with them, but they don't hold up. Then you have the elites that you need elite fragments to upgrade your legendaries. You don't need the blue ones. And elites are a bit more long term worthy, but by long term I mean like a month of playing the game, maybe two if you are approaching it more casually. So you see, so on some characters I have put stars, on some I didn't. So because I have a 760 of him, I can upgrade other like epics quicker basically. And the reason you don't want, you will outgrow like blue and purple characters are because there is a level maximum that they can reach. So my epics and my legendaries are at 301 and will continue forever. Like this one here, I have a video on that when I'm reaching level 300. Maximum it says level 510 in the lowest row, and it increases by 5 every new epic or legendary that is being released in the game, and it takes a long time to put levels like this. So even if you spend like 1,000 say on the game, you won't reach this level cap soon. Oh, I did spend gold, no problem. I wanted to see this one, yeah, the 510. So those can reach unlimited level. You just need to have them here on the level, and I don't really like spending diamonds, but you see, as without spending diamonds I have 27 to be used. So you don't really need more than 27 characters in the game. But as far for levels, the blue ones stop at 160 is the maximum they can reach. The purple ones can reach maximum 220, and they don't have the buds here. So the buds gives a character a lot of stats and the extra abilities. Like she has 45% of attack and defense, damage amplification, crit damage, and if you are a big spender, you can reach it up to more crit damage, more of everything basically. So in the early game, you don't have many epics and legendaries and you can use them, but as far as going after level 220, your epic and your legendaries will have a level advantage, plus you will have more epics at 3 red, at 1 red, where you can put their emblem. So those maybe have an advantage because you get their shards early on. For example, she's a nice healer, and if she's at 3 red, that's the maximum those characters can go. But the epics and the elites go far beyond that. They go to 5 silver is my understanding, and it takes a long time to do that. But until 5 red is where you gain the most advantage, and it's cheaper to bring them there. 1 silver allows you to put more levels on characters eventually, but it's a long time in the future. So it's another way they're handicapped. They have less stars that you can put on them. Those can go up to 1. Red. So because they stop at lower levels, they aren't really worth investing in, and because you are spending their fragments to upgrade epics, it's better to do that, to upgrade epics, and but not the bad epics, because there is a way where, like, if you upgraded him, let's say, and you don't really use him, you can go in character training, and well, he's at a level min. I need to remove him. Let's remove him. Go away. So I can press on him, but I need to spend 500 diamonds. That are a lot to gain those back, or 300 if it's at level 5. Or you can do those, but again they're very expensive. And since you will be using those characters only for like a couple of weeks, it's better to start investing in epics. But there are like 10 characters, epics or legendaries, that are very, very bad, and you would prefer to not invest too much into them, so we'll leave them at lower stars until like 5 yellow. They're kind of cheaper, and then you also need to have fragments of theirs to go to a higher level, not just blue and purple. And it's a very bad strategy to have them as desired here, where you can put the best epics, or you can get an epic charge here where you can select characters, or in the Elite Arena shop where I have a Pandora every 1 month, or when you finish the system recovery, it gives you 10 that you can select 10 fragments, or 1 or 3, however you want. It gives you 10. How many of those you want, you can make them one of those characters. When they release a new epic, like they did now with a Green Lantern guy, he won't be able to be selected as desired. He won't be able to pick him here from Elite Arena. You will be able to pick him very soon from the League shop, and you won't be able to get him from this one here, but that's for like a month maybe. After that, they start adding them to more and more places where you can select them, or maybe 2 months. So, as we talked about blue and purple ones that aren't will be level capped and aren't that great afterwards because of their lack of emblem and stuff, let's talk about the 10 worst epic or legendary characters that you don't really want to invest in. And maybe the first one that's kinda usable is Vixen. Vixen at least can fit in as a substitute, because let's look at her tags here. She is block. It is also bleed, which has very small value, and I'm gonna explain why. So, if you have to build a block team, I have a video on that. You need to have Ocean Master and at least 1 block character, but it benefits from people blocking. And Vixen is a character that gains in her kit more block chance than other characters, except like a Nightwing and Blue Beetle that are disabled. So when you don't have Blue Beetle, you can substitute him with Vixen temporarily. Gives her 20% block chance, but only when everyone is still standing, as it says. Or if you have her at 3 red, I think it's level 3, where Or is it at level? Let me see, where is the passive at level 3? Yes, it's at level 8. Level 8 characters have the passive. No, level 10. In any cases, you don't want to waste the fragments for her, or looking her at the desired. If you have pulled her, throw her in Elite Arena, because you need 3 teams there, and at the beginning you don't have many characters to select. Have her as a level min matrix, put some block gear into her, don't invest too much into this gear, or plan the gear that you put into her to move it to Blue Beetle when you unlock him, and don't invest too much into her. Have her as a second tank. She can fill this role as a temporary substitute, otherwise people aren't using her. But a way some people are using her a little bit is has to do with the bleed. So in Converges with Metropolis, the red, it's kind of difficult to activate like a team synergy. You don't have 2 red characters, generally speaking, here, unless you start having like a Green Lantern John that we're gonna get to, he's on the list, and a new Superman that's a legendary that might not be available, or purple characters, or blue. So you can't really use his team synergy. One team synergy that you might be able to use is his, but many of those burn characters aren't great, and many people don't have invested into a burn team, but you might have invested into him, and you use the same synergy in a Evil Falls against Owlman, and this just need 1 bleed character, and you can put Vixen in there and temporarily have at least a team synergy active to have the. You won't benefit too much from the bleed damage, but you will benefit from the 9% attack HP and defense to everyone on your team. So Vixen, a substitute for Blue Beetle in the block team. I would argue, like, if you have other better tanks like a Gorilla Grodd that you aren't using, or Lex Luthor, or even like a Bright, he works as great as a tank. Put some block gear into them, have them with block. Don't build Vixen only for that. You will kinda regret putting all those fragments into her. Then we have Starfire, and she's not usable at all in the game. Single target burst. So yes, he can activate his team synergy, but there's many characters that are better. That all those 5 characters that I have at level 301 are better for that, and you need 2 of them. And this team synergy, generally speaking, you don't play with this team synergy. And I don't know, she's a character nobody's using. She probably isn't worth it at all. When you face against her, she's a little bit annoying because she hits a lot 1 person, but in a way that it plays out, you can just completely counter her by having a Raven in the back row and reviving the 1 tank that she keeps killing. It kind of works out perfectly to counter her. So don't invest in her. Some people that do regret it, and I never really touch her at all. At least her I've used in my second account and I have some experience to share. Bloodsport, again, he can kind of feel into the block team temporarily, but he's not that great. Better to have like a DPS that does a lot of damage, like Constantine, that also gives them buffs that will make Nightwing likelier to put his stun out. And yeah, nobody really is using Bloodsport at an advanced level. Starfire is not great. Nobody really is using too much the burn team, but right now, because of the new Superman and because they have them as requirement here, at least for 8 people to go in with burn. Some people start to building them. Advanced players that spend a lot of money in the game are saying that he is kind of good when you have investment into him. People were using him for the Superman boss here, and they were getting higher score because of that. And okay, he synergizes with like 2 Supermans here. Otherwise, the other burn characters aren't really that great. Besides, like many people are liking Bizarro, but not so much because he does burn, because he puts out debuffs and he fits in the debuff team, is my understanding more or less. So even if you build the burn team, the 2 Supermans are a lot better to go with him, and the other characters aren't that great. So that leads us also to Dr. Phosphorus. Dr. Phosphorus doesn't really work great in a... So the problem with Phosphorus is he attacks his allies, and his team, like creature commandos, with... Can we see that? The tag. I don't see that here. There's probably not a tag creature commandos, there's this one here. So creature commandos do damage to their teammates and they don't do too much to great to compensate for that. So everyone that invested into creature commandos were disappointed. They were a team that isn't doing anything better, so they don't have a place in Elite Arena or in main stages where you need 3 teams. They don't beat any evil falls. They don't do anything better than other teams that we have better solutions for. So why invest in a team that we can't even get in the mother box still? So it's harder to get their fragments, and you will have them smaller than other older epics that are better, have a place in the game. So again, with creature commanders we have Weasel. Weasel, nobody's using his same synergy. From creature commanders, some people are using Bright. I'm using her. She's a nice tank, because we don't have too many nice tanks, but a bit as a plug and play, as a filler tank, let's say, rather than until we get like all the legendaries at a high level. Like the old Superman might be a better tank than her, but I don't have old Superman, so I'm using her. So Weasel also does damage to his teammates, so this hits 5% for his front row ally with a high percentage of HP. I'm not gonna go too much into creature commandos. They have some synergy with themselves when where is it? Yeah, when people hit her, she heals a little bit of the damage, where her teammates hit her, she heals a little bit of the damage that she has taken, so she mitigates that a little bit if you have the whole team together, but the whole team isn't great. We don't have access to their fragments too much, so better to just ignore this team. Everyone that is investing with them has very bad things to say. Green Lantern John, technically speaking, he looks like he would fit into a debuff team. He puts out a debuffs with his basic, but no one is using them. There are other tanks that are doing better. I've played with him the first months of playing the game, and he wasn't that great. His ultimate is kinda lame because it doesn't do damage. It absorbs damage and hits after 2 turns, where he's very likely dead already, and it does nothing. So you throw him when I have him on Elsword, I throw him at last position to do his ultimate because it's very bad. If you have investment to him, I think he's a buds at level 30 or something like this. He does one ultimate at the start of the match for free, but there's no reason to. We don't have unlimited resources to put like at level 30 his artifact, just his buds, just because he does something nice. He's a bad character that doesn't deserve a lot of investment. Yeah, everyone has built him aren't saying like he's a good tank and have replaced him with other cards. Like if you want to have a debuff team, tanks people are using, it's Gorilla Grodd is pretty much like a staple. Penguin, because he puts some debuffs with his basic as poison or with his advanced attack when he's hit. And he's kinda nice because when your teammates do 10% more damage when he does his advanced attack. Or the new Superman now, and people are, and I'm starting doing that as well, and it works very nicely. And I don't even have too much investment into the new Superman because he has his passive here, where for one turn after he would normally die, he cannot get hit at all, so people are wasting their attacks on him, and then he heals a little bit. Many people, you may have a healer that heals him more in some situations. So, and besides that, Bizarro is one character that people are using, or they even throwing like Batman in the front row and have Raven reviving him a lot and have just a more offensive build for the debuff team. So there are better characters that do what Green Lantern John does, and so it's not really worth to invest into him. Mera is kind of the same boat. Like she has some nice stacks, sacrifice, single target burst. She can activate two team synergies. I think she puts out some debuffs. At least her basic does here, armor break. What people that have built her are saying that she's kinda like a weird hybrid, that she is a little bit like a tank, but she's not great as a tank, and because they kinda made her like a DPS that's tanky, she's not great as a DPS. We will have in the game soon a Mr. Terrific, where he will have a affinity, where it says here it says the tanks, it will say at least that's what they said on the game's Discord from the developers, basically, the community managers, that it will, if your team has 0 tanks, so no tanks, it will do some stuff. It will give you like more superpower damage, defense, I think, and maybe lifesteal. I'm not 100% sure what it does, but I think are those 3 things. And Superman basically is the DPS here. Just to fit this role because he works as a tank, and she's the DPS that kind of works as a tank. So maybe she can get some play there. We can't say. Maybe she's not great. Maybe we just throw someone like Two-Face in there that he works in the front row. Maybe we just throw like a DPS that is a bit tanky, or one more support, and deal with it that way. I'm not saying invest in her. I'm saying this might not be the case like in a month that she's one of the 10 worst epic or legendary characters, but right now she is. Her fragments were just added here as a desired. Before that, she wasn't even like an option to be like a desired character. Then we have Green Lantern Jessica. Green Lantern Jessica, her ultimate, where she does more damage. Where is this? I think it's here. Yeah, basically she does more damage when your ally just got a shield. So if you use her ultimate right after Lex Luthor, it kinda works. But even though we need, we have a shield section here that you need to have shield characters, and at least three shield characters. If you want to do that correctly, you kinda want to have Hal, maybe Doctor Fate, but Doctor Fate isn't like awesome. And people are seeing success with the new Green Lantern guy. Otherwise, if you don't have those characters, people are just throwing like one more elite tank, like either Doctor Captain Cold or Phantom Stranger, together with Lex in the front row, and they are putting more, and where you're playing, maybe you just need two shield characters, so at a lower difficulty. So C is not a great option here. It's better to replace her and put like a tank like this, because, or like him, just at level 220, because we have a lot better DPS that will do a lot of damage and she won't. That's basically my understanding. So even though there is a section for her, people aren't using her even there. Last character I wanna talk about, because all the other epics more or less have some better uses. You could argue Poison Ivy a little bit, because she's level capped at 220, she doesn't really, her ultimate does more damage per poison, and there aren't really other characters besides like Penguin to some degree that put poison, allow her to work. But people are using her in her section here, like back row. People are using her here. People try to use her and Penguin, even though we don't have a great poison dealer. So there's at least some people that are using Poison Ivy. What the 10th character is that is bad and that is not worth investing in, I don't even have her, and I don't really care to have her at the moment, is Supergirl. Supergirl has a team synergy that can be useful in the future. So if you go here at the team synergies, it's the last one here. So Frostbite basically does more damage. Right now, even though there's a couple Frostbite characters that are okay, nobody's using her nowhere. And because legendary characters are hard to get their shards, their fragments, so you need to use the 8th metal, it's not worth it at all to invest 8th metal into her. And if you have her at the moment, people are just letting her on the bench, and until we potentially get Killer Frost in the game. Killer Frost was in the previous iteration of the game in it, and she was the best character, and she does frostbite damage. So maybe Supergirl's team synergy, which increases frostbite damage, will become relevant then. But at the moment, she's maybe even the worst character in the game that is an epic or legendary, because of the opportunity cost spending 8th metal into her while not using her. while there are so many other legendaries that are a lot more important right now in the game. Hope this has been helpful. Again, you may use as a beginner someone like them. It's not, you don't lose anything, have them at the level min matrix. Maybe have them on your last elite arena team, put some basic gear into them. Maybe just bring the gear that you put into them, just let's say at level 6, or even you might have purple gear, just bring it on the cheaper one, or just move their gear to a different character when you unlock them. So you could plan for that. For example, put a block gear into her and then just move it on Blue Beetle when you unlock him, and invest moderately into her block gear until you actually have Blue Beetle. That's it. Again, you can have fun with those characters, but if you want to be smart and not waste your diamonds to get those fragments back, it's best to avoid the characters I have mentioned, unless there's a really good reason, like at least she's used in a challenge in a league challenge. You may not have burn characters, you need to use like a him and her temporarily, but very minimum investment. Try to avoid and invest in the better characters that I have above. That's it for now.